I spent a month with an Israeli family in Tel Aviv, and I watched their 7-year-old daughter do something that would make most American parents panic. She took apart the family's toaster to see how it worked, made a complete mess in the kitchen with her experiment. And when she couldn't put it back together, her parents didn't punish her or get upset. Instead, they sat down with her and helped her figure out what went wrong and how to fix it. They were encouraging the exact behavior that American parents like me spend years trying to stop. That moment made me realize something profound about how differently we approach creativity, problem-solving, and innovation. Israeli children grew up to become some of the most innovative entrepreneurs in the world, and it's not by accident. It's because Israeli parenting fundamentally encourages creative thinking, questioning, and experimentation in ways that American parenting often accidentally suppresses. If you want to raise genuinely creative, innovative thinkers who aren't afraid to try new things and challenge the status quo, hit that like button and subscribe right now, because the differences between these two parenting approaches could transform how you see your role in developing your child's creativity. Let me start by explaining the fundamental philosophical difference between American and Israeli parenting when it comes to creativity, because it shapes everything else. American parenting tends to value obedience, following rules, coloring inside the lines, and producing correct answers. We praise children for doing things the right way, for following instructions, for not making messes. Israeli parenting, rooted in a culture called chutzpah, which means boldness or audacity, values questioning authority, challenging assumptions, thinking differently, and taking risks. They see creativity not as a nice extra skill, but as essential for survival and success. The first major difference I noticed is how each culture responds to questions and challenges from children. In American homes, when a child asks why they have to do something, many parents respond with "because I said so" or "because those are the rules." We see questioning as defiance or disrespect. But in Israeli homes, when children ask why, parents engage with the question. They explain their reasoning, they allow debate, and they even encourage children to make counter-arguments. This isn't permissive parenting where children are in charge. It's teaching children to think critically, to question, to use logic and reasoning. I watched this play out constantly with the Israeli family I stayed with. Their daughter would question everything. Why do we eat dinner at this time? Why can't I wear my pajamas to school? Why do I have to clean my room? And instead of shutting down the questions, her parents would engage. Well, why do you think we eat dinner at this time? What would happen if everyone wore pajamas to school? They were teaching her to think through problems, consider consequences, and articulate reasoning. This constant practice of questioning and thinking creates children who aren't afraid to challenge conventional wisdom or propose new solutions. The second difference is in how mistakes and failures are treated. American parenting culture often treats mistakes as things to avoid, fix quickly, or be embarrassed about. We correct our children constantly, we hover to prevent them from messing up, and we express disappointment when they fail. Israeli parenting treats mistakes as essential learning experiences, even celebrating them sometimes. There's a cultural saying that translates roughly to, "If you're not making mistakes, you're not trying hard enough." I saw this when the Israeli girl broke the toaster. In my American mindset, I was horrified. She broke an appliance, made a mess, and didn't even accomplish what she set out to do. But her parents saw it completely differently. They saw curiosity, initiative, hands-on learning, and a valuable lesson about mechanics and problem-solving. Instead of punishment, they helped her understand what went wrong, taught her about electrical safety, and encouraged her to keep experimenting with things that were safer to take apart. This fundamental difference in how failure is treated creates children with completely different relationships to risk and innovation. American children often become risk-averse because failure feels catastrophic. Israeli children become comfortable with failure because it's normalized as part of the creative process. If you want to learn from parenting approaches around the world that create different outcomes, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. The third difference is in how much independence and autonomy children are given to explore, create, and make decisions. American parents tend to structure children's time heavily, direct their play, choose their activities, and control most aspects of their lives. We think we're being helpful and giving them opportunities. Israeli parents give children much more unstructured time and autonomy to pursue their own interests, make their own choices, and direct their own learning. The Israeli family I stayed with didn't have their daughter in multiple structured activities. She had a lot of free time to explore whatever interested her that day. She'd decide she wanted to build something, and they'd give her materials and space to figure it out. She'd get interested in a topic, and they'd help her find resources, but let her dive as deep as she wanted. This autonomy to follow curiosity and direct her own learning was building creativity in ways that structured, adult-directed activities never could. The fourth difference is about embracing mess and chaos as part of creativity. American homes often prioritize order, cleanliness, and things being put away properly. Israeli culture is much more comfortable with mess as a byproduct of creation. When children are creating, experimenting, and building, things get messy. If parents are constantly worried about the mess and stopping creative activities to clean up, they're teaching children that creativity needs to be neat and contained. I had to examine my own reactions to mess. I would stop my kids' creative projects because they were making too much mess, or I'd hover and try to keep things neat while they played. But creativity is inherently messy. Ideas are messy. Experiments are messy. If we want creative children, we have to get comfortable with more mess. The fifth difference is in how much debate and argumentation are encouraged. American parents often see arguing as disrespectful and try to stop it. We want agreeable, compliant children. Israeli culture sees healthy debate and argumentation as essential skills. Family dinner conversations often involve vigorous debate where children are expected to defend their positions, challenge others' views, and think on their feet. This constant practice of articulating ideas, defending positions, and engaging with different viewpoints builds critical thinking and creative problem-solving. Children learn to see issues from multiple angles, to think flexibly, and to communicate persuasively. These are exactly the skills that lead to innovation. Comment below and tell me, do you think American parenting or Israeli parenting is better for encouraging creativity, or is there a balance between the two? Here's what I took from this experience and applied to my own parenting. I started encouraging my kids to question more and engage with their questions instead of shutting them down. I consciously worked on responding to mistakes and failures with curiosity and learning instead of disappointment. I gave my kids more unstructured time and autonomy to pursue their interests. I got more comfortable with mess as a byproduct of creativity. And I started having more debates and discussions at family dinners, where my kids had to articulate and defend their ideas. The changes in my children have been remarkable. They're more willing to try difficult things because failure doesn't feel catastrophic anymore. They think more independently and come up with creative solutions instead of always asking me what to do. They question more, think more critically, and are developing that chutzpah that I saw in Israeli children, the boldness to think differently and challenge assumptions. I'm not saying Israeli parenting is perfect or that American parenting is wrong. Every culture has strengths and limitations. But when it comes specifically to encouraging creativity, innovation, and independent thinking, Israeli parenting has elements we can learn from. The key is finding a balance that works for your family, taking what's valuable from different approaches while staying true to your own values. If this comparison between American and Israeli parenting opened your eyes to different ways of encouraging creativity, please share this video with another parent. Learning from how other cultures approach parenting expands our perspective and gives us more tools. Drop a comment and tell me which approach resonates more with you, or share elements from both that you want to incorporate. And subscribe because we're building a community of parents who learn from wisdom across cultures and aren't afraid to question conventional parenting approaches when there might be better ways. Thank you for being here and for being open to seeing creativity development through a different cultural lens.